Alright YouTube, Pepper Chronicles here. Figure I'll do another, I'll try to do a quick garden update here. We'll start here with the pubescence plants. Here's the turbo pube again. It's got a bunch of pods on it. A lot of newer pods. Kind of a fat one there. There's quite a few on here, man. There's like, I tried counting them the other day. There's about 30 on here, 29, 30 of them. Some of them are very small, just starting out, just like that. But there's some bigger ones throughout here too that are pretty nice. Still fighting the earwigs, but still looking good, man. Really like this plant. I want to send a bunch of these out. So somebody wants to try a turbo pube, hit me up on a private message, and when one ripens up, I'll try to get one out to you because it's a phenomenal tasting pepper. Here's my yellow Manzano. It's finally started flowering here within the last week. It's got some really cool big purple flowers on it. Haven't seen any pod formation yet, but really happy with it. Still fighting earwigs on this one also. The earwigs love these plants. They just love them. But it's looking pretty good. We'll take you down here to the slab and show you what's going on there. I'll give you a look of how it looks like this. That's what it looks like from back here. Looking pretty good for the most part, and we'll start here in the back, and I'll try to move along here. Here's one of my red brain strains. It's just now starting to form a couple of little pods on there. I saw one on here earlier, and I don't see it right now, but here's a Moruga Satan. Pretty cool plant. It's got some pretty decent sized pods on it. That one's pretty good. Some of the pods on here have got some pretty interesting and cool pod shapes to them, if I can find them. They've got some really whacked out tails on them, like that one right there. And there's some more back in here that have them. Like, there's one. That's a good looking one right there. There's a few on here that have got those wicked looking tails on them, and pretty awesome looking phenotype. I'm definitely going to try to extract some seeds from some of this phenotype of pepper and grow it out again, because I just think it looks pretty cool. This one here is that's a 7-pot Jonah from Silver Surfer. It wasn't really doing all that great. It's starting to form some newer pods on it. I don't know if the pods on this are going to get really big or not. Also, lots of flower drop out here because of the weather. It's been so hot out here, man. It's been 90 degrees plus every day for I don't know how long. Here's a Jay's Ghost Scorpion, one of my three. All three of the Jay's Ghosts that I'm growing are red varieties. This one is the last one to set some pods on it that I've seen. There is a pod on here somewhere. A couple of them. I just don't see them at the moment, but trust me. Oh, here's one. There's one, and they're all about that size on this plant. Here's my yellow 7-pot from John. And just as I start my video, those fucking dogs come out here and start barking. But this is a yellow 7-pot from John the Italian 556, but this plant seems to shoot off orange pods. They don't start out yellow, they start out orange, and they are orange. See how this one is green and starting to turn? That's orange, man. That ain't yellow. But it had one really big pod on it. Doesn't really have any other big pods, but I'd like to get a decent sized pod off of here and try it just to see. Here's a plant I'm really excited about. This is my dougla red variant from Silver Surfer. It's got some wacky looking pods on it, some really cool formations and varieties. That leaf's no good. I mean, look at that. That's just bizarre. And then you got one here that sort of has that Carolina Reaper shape to it. If I can get it in the camera. Really cool looking pod there. And then down here is more of a traditional, like a 7-pot / dougla looking one. And it just went from green to orange, and I'm going to give that pod a few more days and see if it changes color. Hopefully it turns red, or if it stays orange, I guess I'll have an orange dougla variant, which would be kind of neat. Over here, I'm going to be up and down in this video, so it's going to be shaky. This is my 7-pot Primo from seeds that I got from Judy at Pepper Lover. Obviously, if you look at the pods, it's definitely not a Primo. It's some kind of cross, and I'm thinking it's crossed with a boot because of the lion's share of pods on here look like that. They're boot shaped. The first few that were on it were kind of had sort of a scorpion look to them, but since the plant's been outside, it's shooting off these. There's a decent sized pod right there, but it's kind of shooting these boot looking shaped pods on there, and there's a bunch on here. There's a ton of pods on this thing. There's one ripe one down here, and that's a pod that actually started forming while it was still downstairs under the California Lightworks LED. Let's see, here's this is a Butch T Scorpion. It's got a few pods on it. That's kind of a cool looking pod. It's got some other ones on there. Nothing's turning ripe yet, but there's some okay looking pods on here. There's a pretty cool one right there. I'll probably review that one. Then back here we've got a yellow brain strain that has got some pretty good sized pods. There's one down there at the bottom that's pretty big. Haven't seen anything start to ripen yet. Some of the pods on here are pretty massive, and then some of these are younger pods that are setting, and that's kind of a weird looking one. But I'm hoping that this one actually turns out to be a yellow instead of turning orange. This is another 7-pot Primo from Silver Surfer. It does finally have some new pods starting to set on it. I saw one earlier and now I don't see it, but that's alright. Here's my Carolina Reaper, starting to get another set of pods on there. A lot of little ones, but it's looking like they're kind of more true to that Reaper shape, I'm hoping. Nothing real huge on here yet, but these pods aren't really that old, so I'm hoping they get some size to them and they grow to a more true phenotype of the Reaper. So still pretty neat. Get back up here. Oh. And here's my ahi, my unknown ahi. I don't know what kind of pepper it is really. Got some kind of large, sort of roundish, heavy duty, really heavy pods on it, really meaty. Oop, there we go. You can see pretty good sized pods, man. There's quite a few on here too. Don't know what it's going to be or what color they're going to be, but pretty neat plant, interesting. If someone knows what this is or what it might be, that'd be awesome if you could chime in and maybe post something in the comments. Maybe you've seen this variety before, or maybe not. Let's see, this one here is my other Moruga Scorpion. It's got some pods on it forming too, smaller ones than on my other one, but this one started a little later. This one's sort of got a tail on it, but not as long as on the other plant. There's another one, but there's a bunch of new pods on here. And this is my Billy Boy dougla. There's a pod there. That's probably the biggest one on there right now. And there's new pods forming on it. Anyway, pretty healthy looking plant. Hopefully these grow out true and they grow to be douglas, and they don't turn orange like everything in my garden wants to turn. Down here is another really cool plant that I'm excited about. This is a Butch T Scorpion crossed with a red dougla, and I got this out of the seeds of this. I grew this from a pod out of from the Silver Surfer, and that's a really neat pod looking. It's a really cool pod right back in there, kind of a cool shape. I never reviewed this pod on video, but it was extremely hot and extremely good for a Superhot. I thought it was killer. So hopefully, at least I get the same flavor out of it. I've grown another one of these too that's not doing quite as well. Here's one of my other Jay's Ghost Scorpions. That's a wicked looking pod on there. It's got a few on it. This is the one that's got 2 in the same plant, or 2 in the same pot, I should say. Get back up again. And then, let's see, where am I here? Oh, that's the Jay's. This is the Cornish Naga. It's finally starting to get some slightly larger pods on it. It was throwing a bunch of tiny ones. But, like, there's a pretty decent sized Cornish Naga. They don't get huge, I don't think, but that's a pretty decent looking one. I want to send a good sized one of these to Chuck the Biz. And there's another one ripening down below there, if you can see it. And there's another one here. But pretty flavorful Naga, in my opinion. Pretty sweet to start off with, and pretty dang hot. Here's my red brain strain from Cappy. There's a pretty good one right there, right here actually, and that one just turned ripe. Pretty cool, and it's got some other ones, some newer pods on it. There's actually quite a few pods on this particular plant, and it's got some other ones that are ripening back in here. So I'll be sending a few of these out for sure. And here's my yellow brain strain that sends out the orange pods. See, it's going from green to orange. There was a couple of really cool ones on here that were ripe, and I just cut them off today, so they're not on video. But there's one really big one that's sort of the phenotype of the one that I reviewed, and then there's another one that I'm going to send to Sean and Dave. Probably get those in the mail tomorrow, and those guys will get a try that out and see what they think. Here's one of my Assam boots. Got a couple of decent pods on it. These are younger pods too, by the way, so hopefully they get bigger. Got kind of a cool shape to them. I'm thinking that looks sort of like the true phenotype of the Assam. I just think they need to get about double in size at least, I think. There's some other younger pods that are forming on this one also. This is my Infinity that didn't have anything on it until about 3 days ago, and now I'm finally starting to see some pods right there. There's one, and there's a few more about this size throughout the plant. This is my other Assam boot Jalokia that I think is, I don't know if it's crossed or if it's just an oddball plant, but they don't have that defined point at the bottom. Some of the bottoms are kind of rounded. That one's kind of got a point to it, I guess, but it's still, they're not real big. They're medium-sized pods, but there's quite a few on here. But I think it's somewhat off phenotype from the Assam boots that I've seen. But still, pretty cool plant. This is my other Jay's Ghost Scorpion. This one's probably got the most peppers on it of any of my Jays. Pretty cool looking pods, man. I'm really excited about this particular variety. Definitely want to try one of these when they get ripe. But it's, look at this pod right here. Look at the tail on that. That is a wicked looking pepper, and I've marked that one for review. I'm gonna, when that gets ripe, I'm all over it. So that'll be fun. Here's probably the most prolific plant in my garden. This is the peach habalokia from Todd from T-Mutter. It's got a couple pods on it that are starting to ripen. I think they're going to be red instead of a peach color. But there's another one back in here. It kind of starts out ripening like a peach, but then it goes into a peach color, but then it goes to red. So, but really cool plant. This is a chocolate boot. Got quite a few pods on it now. They're still young, so the pods are getting bigger every day, so hopefully they get a decent size, and they're actually chocolate. It'll probably be orange with knowing my luck. get around here without breaking leaves off. This is a Jamaican chocolate habanero SR. That one there is almost ripe. Still got a little bit of green at the bottom. It's got quite a few pods on it. The pod shape, for the most part, I think it's growing true. Really excited about this plant. Really tasty habanero. Pretty cool. Then next to it, we've got the 7-pod brown from, at least this is Todd's 7-pod brown, which looks a little bit different than other 7-pod browns that I've seen. This one, the pods have a wrinkly skin to them. They're very bumpy, strange shaped pods, and very hot. And there's one on here that's almost ripe right there. That's a nice one. And there's another one back there, a good sized one that's turning. That I am definitely not going to eat this, so if somebody wants a 7-pod brown, hit me up. This one's another 7-pod brown. It's supposed to be, but I don't know. It might be something else. It's almost this pod here is almost like a creamy white color. It might be. Todd says it might be a DEFCON 7, and if it is, cool, man. Very cool. There's quite a few pods on here too. I haven't seen anything start to ripen yet. This one back here is a Source Butch Tea. It's finally starting to get a couple of pods on it. I don't see any right here at the moment, but that's one of my Source Butch Teas. Over here is a Butch Tea crossed with a brown dougla, and the pods on it are supposed to be brown. It didn't have any pods on it until just a couple of days ago. We're starting to get some now. It'll be interesting to see what these end up growing out like. Here is my Bahamian goat pepper. There's one that's almost ripe there. They're not huge pods on here, but there's quite a few throughout the plant. Really tasty variety, actually. As far as chinense, it's really good. It's not. I wouldn't put this in the Superhot range. It's about habanero heat level, but I think a better flavor than just a store-bought habanero. This is my Naga. Pretty prolific plant. It sets a lot of tiny little pods, but this is one of the bigger ones on there starting to ripen. I will say that this particular plant, this particular variety, the pods, no matter what size they are lightning hot. They're just unreal. But there's a bunch on here. Here's my orange scorpion, or my red scorpionero, that puts out the tiny little, the numerous small. I mean, here's my pinky, and this is probably the biggest pod on the plant. It puts out small little pods, man, and they ripen to orange. And then over here you've got my other scorpionero that. Okay, sorry about that. Video cut off, and their dogs are barking again. But this is my other red scorpionero that's got bigger pods on it, but looks like they are turning orange to begin with. So I'll give these a little longer, and hopefully they'll turn red. But if not, it's still all right. It's still a really good tasting pod. I haven't tried one off of this plant yet, though. And then this is a Billy Boy Dougla Red that's just recently started firing off some new pods. There's one in here. There's a little cluster of them in there. Another one back in here. This is my Trinidad Moruga. Right there is a bunch of newer pods set on it that look like they're, at least this early on, they look like they're the right deal. And here's my Barakpur 7-pot. There's got one on there that's been on there for a long time, just starting to turn. And there's a bunch of newer pods on here too. Let's see if I can get a good shot on one. Huh? What?
These are the coolest of all of them right here.
Oh yeah, the peach abalokia?
Yeah.
Liking that one. And got to turn around over here. And this is the Billy Boy Jonah, or this is the, yeah, Billy Boy Jonah. Some newer pods. Yep. Nothing real huge yet, but I guess that's what a Billy Boy Jonah is supposed to look like. I don't know. Here's my 7-pot white. Got a really good sized pod back in here. I don't think it's quite ripe yet, though. I think it's going to be wider than that, I hope. I don't know. It's got a bunch of other newer pods on it. This one actually has kind of a scorpion stinger on it. Kind of cool. But cool variety of plant. This is one of the ones I'm going to overwinter. This is my other Butch T Scorpion crossed with a dougla, a red dougla, and it does have a couple of pods on it. It's not as many, of course, as my other plant, but it just now has started to pod up. It wasn't really doing much of anything except growing a canopy. And then this is, shut the hell up, dog. This is supposed to be a chocolate scorpion, but as you can see, those look almost like a boot shape to them, some of those, and a bunch of new pods on here. So it's probably crossed with something. It did have some very small pods that I didn't see that had ripened, and they were chocolate in color, so it is going to be a chocolate something, so it's probably a scorpion cross type of deal. And then this is my reaper, my other reaper, that's been hindered, but it's got flowers on it now. No pods yet. I'll be surprised if I get any pods off of this plant at all, really. I'm actually surprised there's flowers on it. And then here is my white boot, and pretty decent sized pod down there, and there's a bunch of newer ones forming on it. This is once again the two plants, two of the same plant in the same pot, but it's doing really good. I mean, so anyway, there we have it. There's the